I'm so excited. Let me just turn on the music so I can get it going, y'all. First of all, I'm so excited that that intro worked because I have a running joke that sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. But I'm really excited to be spending Valentine's with Jordan Benn. Thank
Okay.
you so much for being here. I really, honestly, really appreciate this.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Matt, so listen, we realized that, I'm supposed to say all the influencer stuff. So let me just get that out of the way. Please smash the like button. Love it. Share this. Tell your friends. And especially for those, I know a lot of people watch our replays. For those of y'all who are watching our replay, you can still drop comments and we will respond, or at least I will respond. But everybody else, get it together and like and share, so that way we can get this information out to folks who who need it, quite frankly. So tonight is Valentine's, so I'm wearing red. Wearing red for the moment. But I thought this was such a good opportunity to bring Jordan on, and we'll get into what he does. For those of y'all, again, Valentine's tends to be very, very stressful for a lot of people. There's a lot of folks, lonely hearts, broken hearts, and all of that. But this is also a time, Jordan, I was thinking about all the folks that are have gone through job layoffs recently. Coming into this season where they're not sure and they're facing stress in a different way. So, what are some of the things that you could share to help those individuals? Again, I'm trying not to make too much light of the fact that it is Valentine's, it is the season of love, but there's a lot of people who aren't feeling that right now. So we're
Mhm.
giving y'all our Valentine's evening so that we could bring some help to you. So, Jordan, can you tell us a little bit more about what you do? First of all, he is in California chilling. Okay, I'm so jealous right now because you have the best weather. But what do you do?
Well, first, I'm in the Bay Area in California. The weather is
Oh,
good, but it's a little chilly. I wish it was like a little warmer, to be honest. But what do I do? It's such like a deep question, kind of. But meditation is the center of my career, to put it simply, and that looks like me teaching dynamic mindfulness in middle schools. I also partner with a couple of startups to facilitate well-being for their members, and I also teach in the workplace as well. So I
oh wow.
teach workplace wellness sessions, I lead meditations for teams, and also provide one on one coaching to some select private clients. So it's kind of like a different things, but to put it simply, I'm a meditation guy. Yeah.
I love that. And when you talk about meditation, I'm thinking about, and then obviously like correct us, but for those of us who are, if you're on the job, what role does meditation play? Like, how can you use meditation for on the job type stress relief?
Okay. Yeah. I think it's important too for me to kind of define meditation
Yeah, yeah.
because I feel like it's such like a kind of like a very like an enigma in a way, like a very cryptic like term, you know. For me, meditation it simply means being able to feel familiar and connected to yourself, connected to your thoughts, connected to your feelings, connected to your body. I think anytime you can build that awareness of that connection, you're practicing meditation. So this could be a meditation in a way if you're kind of building that awareness in the moment. Meditation traditionally it can be kind of sitting in a lotus position, like with your eyes closed for however long you want to. But to me, that's just one way that it looks. It also includes writing. To me, it includes breath work. It includes walking mindfully. I really think life is one long meditation, but when
Wow.
we practice, it can typically look like maybe sitting in a like particular pose, doing particular breath work. Um, but yeah, I think the term largely is just to be familiar with the self.
Wow, I think that's a great place to start because I think for a lot of us, we do think of meditation when you're doing yoga or you're taking deep breaths, or if you're a mom, you're meditating to go crazy with the kids. So you also talked a little bit about journaling and then actively moving as modes of meditation.
Mhm.
Um, for folks who are, and we'll touch on like different areas, maybe and I know you're coming back. By the way, Jordan is coming back to talk to kids later on in February. So
Mhm.
we'll be able to cover some of what works for kids and how we can help kids. Um, from a like a stress relief perspective, if you're on the job, what are some maybe three tips that you could share for folks who are kind of on the job right now, dealing with a lot of the
Mhm.
tension and the stress about what's happening in the day jobs?
Yeah, I think first thing is before you even get there. So I think you have to kind of prepare before you walk in to work or walk to your desk if you're working from home. So I think your morning routine is super important. And often people tell me it's no way I can meditate. I can't get my mind to be still that long. And I say just find a place to sit and take 5 deep breaths, like focusing on nothing but your breath. And if you want to go past that 5 breaths, keep going. But that's just your minimum commitment. And from there, like your practice will build. But I think it's important to have some type of stop or like some type of pause right when you wake up. Um,
Mm,
and that might be your time in prayer. That can be your meditation practice. That can be your walk. It can be some time in your journal. But I think you really need to take a moment to really just be still
mm,
before you go into work to build that awareness. Then while you're at work, when I used to work at a corporate office, it was a meditation room. Like fortunately, like I
wow.
would stay in there. Like my second office. I think it's really important to, at some point in the middle of the day, again, everybody is not a traditional meditator just yet. Like they may not want to sit in a traditional pose, they may not want to close their eyes. But I think it's important to take a walk, to take a moment to free write for a few minutes. I think you have to have a 10-minute mindful break in the middle of
Mm,
your day to really
wow.
just reset and give your brain a rest and some space to slow down and to think. So first is to pause before you even go into the office. The second is to take a pause while you're at the office, maybe some point around lunch, a little bit after lunch. Then I think at the end of the day, it's really powerful. I've been doing this practice for a while. I call it a list of positive aspects.
Wow.
So you can do it. Like you can call it gratitude. I think sometimes when we think of gratitude, though, we think of stuff we've had to overcome. We think of like
Yeah.
bad stuff that's happened that's over. Like it can be like a really heavy term, and it's supposed to be something light and fun. So I just say positive aspects, and it really takes away the pressure of you listing something that's super like grandiose. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
A positive aspect could be I saw a bird on my walk to work, or
Oh.
I talked to my mom today, or the food in the cafeteria was hella good, or like, or I almost met my quota. Like you know what I mean? Like something
Yeah.
like that. And just listing that, maybe just having a minimum of 5 and just keep going after that. But I think having a moment before you go into work to really kind of ground in stillness before any stimuli is introduced.
Oh
I
yeah.
then think while you're at work, kind of taking a moment to slow down and refresh. And then after work, really kind of grounding yourself in some positivity and looking back on the good that's happened throughout the day before you go home.
I love the take you have shifting it from gratitude, because you're right. I find that I mean, I'm grateful for everything, but there's
Mhm.
some things that you're right. There's some things that there's a little bit of a stress to come up with something so grandiose that I'm
Mhm.
missing the small things, or I'm giving the gratitude to other people, but I'm not reflecting. It's not like I'm grateful for just breathing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
So
we just associate it with just such big things.
yeah,
Like calling it just like positive aspects.
yeah,
It just sets the bar like at the ground, and
yeah,
it's like you just build momentum from
yeah.
there. Yeah.
I love that. And especially, as I'm thinking about, those of you all who are watching again, whether you're live or wherever, or you're on the replay, um, those of you who've recently been impacted with job loss, or maybe it's a health issue, a mental health issue, whatever it is, these are really easy things that you can do. You're not going out to spend any money, y'all. These are things that you can do really for free, but it's just being more intentional about, that giving yourself that time. and finding that time. And the thought about taking 10 minutes, a mindful break during the day, for those of y'all who are working, y'all, you can put that on your calendar and step away for a
Yeah.
minute, right? You get it's not.
This also, I feel like I used to do this thing. Sometimes I still do it. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get up and grab a glass of water after I send this email, or I'm gonna take,
Yeah,
and like you never get to it. I think when you have that thought or that impulse to get up and take a break, you should really just stop and take a break.
yeah.
Like I really challenge people to do that. Like no matter what they're doing, like really listen to your body. Listen, see, that's how you build your intuition as well as listening the first time, not saying, oh, I'll do it after I get this one task done. Like if you do it right then and there, like you automatically, like you just strengthened a muscle. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I think
yeah.
it's really powerful to, like, of course it's good to schedule time, but also listening in the moment, like when a need in your body comes up.
Wow. And that, can we talk about self-love and what does that look like? Because listen, all of us after COVID, quite frankly, for the majority of 2020, a lot of us were using the word self-care a lot. And self-care went into, like, in 2021, it was spa trips and then it was vacations. And all of a sudden, self-care just kind of took on a whole beast of its own.
Mhm.
But what I thought and what I was seeing in a lot of even some of my own friends were, there was no self-love. All of a sudden, folks were even more critical of themselves, but they were spending a lot of money at the spa. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit about, like, what in your space, what does that mean for you? What does self-love look like, and what would someone do?
I think self-love is really being connected to who you are and what you need and acting on that with compassion. So that's as small as the example like we just talked about. Like
Yeah.
if you're thirsty and you're sending emails, once you realize you're thirsty, you immediately get up and you get yourself some water. Like that's self-love. And that can seem so small, but that speaks volumes to how much you care about your body. And that shows that you're putting your well-being before like a corporation's bottom line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it can seem like super small, but like those super small instances, they make up our entire day, and our days make up our life. So if we're putting ourselves first in those like seemingly micro moments, then we get to experience like a greater feeling of self connection and self love. And
Wow.
I think self love is again like really knowing who you are, because I think truly like we are love. That's really all we are. Like you know what I
That's
mean?
beautiful.
That's
Yeah.
what like my philosophy is rooted in, is that we are inherently good. We are inherently love. And I think when we can really allow ourselves to feel that, there's really
Yeah.
nothing we have to do. It's more so stuff we have to stop doing. It's
Yeah.
just, so I think that's love. I think self-love is simply being like without resistance.
Wow, that's so powerful. First of all, when you write that book, I'm gonna need you to put me, send me
Let
a
me
free
get you a
copy.
copy. Yeah.
I know I'm like speaking all things into Jordan. I can't help it. It's a part of me. So I'm just speaking it out. Thank you, Tina. Yeah, it is absolutely great advice. Can you talk about intuition? So this is another part, like when we talk about being connected and being still so you can hear that
Mhm.
voice. And I don't mean the voice that tells you to go do harm, y'all. Okay. Yeah, we absolutely must love ourselves first, otherwise you can't love someone else. That's a fact. Can you touch a little bit about, like, what is intuition, and for those who might be trying to understand, like, what does that sound like? What how do you know it's your intuition?
Yeah.
How do you know it's your intuition?
I think intuition is just natural intelligence. So I think we could make it like really woo woo if we wanted to. I
Yeah,
think to like put it simply, like it really is simple though. I think it's just natural intelligence. Some people might call it instinct.
yeah.
You know what I mean, from like a nature perspective. But I think of it just as natural intelligence. Like, yeah, I think it's not. And you saying how do we develop it? Was that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I think it's by listening to it like the first time, because we have it and it comes up every day. Like, and it comes up with little decisions. I actually remember being at the store not too long ago, and I was going to get some chips. Like, this is how simple it is. Like, I think like I'm going to buy some chips, and like something told me just try the other bag, like try a different flavor today, and I got it. Like, I just had that feeling. It was just an impulse, and I followed it. And that's very small, but I trusted myself to follow it.
Yeah.
And then, like, the chips were good. I believe. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just a practice. Like, the more you listen, the more you'll get confirmation, and the more connected to that natural intelligence you'll feel. But yeah, I think it's really natural. Everybody has it, and I don't think it's really a means of developing it. I think it's just becoming more aware of it by listening to it the first time.
I love that, because then at least for me, um, and I'm a very spiritual person, so intuition is a little bit different for me. But
Hmm.
you're right. If you don't, and listen, I've learned the hard way where I didn't listen the first time, that it tends to come back in a different
Yeah,
way. It presents, whether it's creativity or it's presenting a solution to a problem, or, if I'm just being disobedient, I'm not listening to it, then I get, kind of punished, quote unquote, for not listening to those intuition. And I think the point you made about being still and finding that time where you're actually just centered, and you're connecting to yourself, that's part of how you end up honing your ears so that you can actually hear that still small voice, or your
exactly.
intuition, or whatever it is, right?
And after meditation, you'll get impulses to do things a lot of
Yeah.
times that are natural. Like, I can give an example. So I was meditating one day, and I went on a walk, and then I just had this feeling. I was like, I should change like my LinkedIn like headline to read like certified meditation teacher. Like,
Yeah.
before, it wasn't reading that. Like, I think I was still working a corporate job that was unrelated to like what I was really passionate about. But I was like, I should put that in my headline. Like, that should be like the first thing people see, you know?
Yeah.
So I did it, and then like a few days later, this company contacted me saying they found me on LinkedIn. They want me to record some content for some meditation. Like, I asked how they
Wow.
found me, and they said they searched the exact term I put in my headline. So it's things like that, and like I can look back at that situation
Yeah.
and like move with even more confidence now. Like, when I get an impulse, because I know that it pays off, even if I can't see exactly where the impulse is taking me. Like, that's kind of none of my business. Like, you just need, you know what I mean? You just listen
Yeah.
and you just wait. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. Tina is saying, yeah, that silent voice can be very powerful. And that's so true. And the other thing, as you're saying that, again, it goes back to, you get this opportunity when you're listening to that voice, and then you're taking an action. And
Mhm.
I'm thinking about, folks who might have, or folks who might be, coming out of, um, abusive, or abuse of some kind, whether it's emotional or physical, or whatever that looks like. And that voice was there. And I'm going to tell you, for even for me, because I went through some levels of abuse a long time ago,
Mhm.
but I knew I was shutting out that voice because it didn't feed the purpose at that time. I didn't want to hear it, because that would mean that I made the wrong choice. And
Right.
so instead of listening to that intuition and listening to that voice, I selected the other route, which is to
Mhm.
ignore it. And then I had to pay the consequence of not listening. So that's why, when we're talking about this, it is so important. So, whether it's, related to matters of the heart, matters of the finance, matters in business, you can kind of see, why it's so important to have professionals like Jordan come on and share with us, like, here's how you need to, here is how, and here's why you really need to be centered, y'all. Otherwise, we're all over the place. Oh my gosh. So I want to find out more about, what are some of the things that you're working on right now? Because I know I want people to. You can find Jordan on LinkedIn, and I'll drop his information. But I want to find out more about what are some of the things that you're working on, and, if you're, an organization, a business, a school, etc. How can we get your service?
Yeah. So you can learn all about me at jordanben.com.
Okay.
Mhm. But right now, I work with school systems, health and wellness startups, as well as workplaces. So one of the schools I work through the Naroga Institute, which is a really dope nonprofit here based out of the East Bay. And I go into schools in Antioch as well as schools in Berkeley, middle to teach middle school students dynamic mindfulness tools. So a lot of movement, a lot of breath work,
Wow.
a lot of breathing, and also just like a lot of conversation around how to be stress resilient, how to maintain healthy relationships, and also how to manage negative thoughts that may come up during the school day or even outside of school through like natural tools that we have, like through our bodies, through movement, through sound, through the breath. Yeah, I also partner with a startup called Mindy. It's really, really dope early stage startup. I work as a mental fitness trainer, and I also create meditation content for them and their clients.
Wow.
So it's kind of personalized training with like highly busy professionals, executives, founders, kind of like corporate athletes is what they call.
Yeah.
Yeah, like really working with them to set mental fitness goals and keeping them accountable on their journey towards that goal.
Wow, that's incredible. And again, everything that we need, y'all, coming out of the pandemic, there's a lot of folks who have not, and I'm saying it for myself, have not fully healed from the pandemic emotionally. It was a
Mhm.
rough time. And so, please make sure I drop the link in the chat. There is a question for you. And the question is, what advice can you give for sleep meditation?
For sleep meditation, a teacher and me was just talking about this today. I think when we have trouble going to sleep, I think what really can help is allowing our awareness to move out of our head. So a lot of times, like especially in the West, like I feel like our awareness, our attention is all up here. But the truth is, consciousness, I also call it awareness, it's not localized in any one place. Like it's not in the brain, it's all throughout the body. So when you're having trouble relaxing, your awareness might be concentrated heavily in one area, likely like up here.
Mhm.
So practicing a body scan meditation before bed can be really helpful. And that just looks like shifting your awareness to different parts of the body. So you can start with the soles of your feet. You can imagine a light is kind of traveling up towards your toes. You can imagine it's kind of radiating across the tops of your feet and expanding upwards towards your legs. Like you can like allow this light to travel very slowly, or it can be water. Like you can imagine really anything. I'm kind of traveling and tracing through your body. And by allowing your awareness to flow freely, you kind of release maybe any mental resistance that's up here. You give your mind something like less resistant to focus on, and it'll allow you to relax and hopefully sleep a bit easier.
Wow, that is without the use of putting drugs in your body,
Yeah.
right? That is,
Also, I don't teach yoga nidra, but yoga nidra is all about that. It's essentially kind of like body scanning for the purpose of relaxation and
yeah,
sleep. Yeah.
yeah. Thanks for that question, Tina. I'm thinking about how do you manage, like, how do you shut the brain down? And I think that's what a
Mhm.
lot of us are dealing with. So before
I
you
also
even,
think like
yeah, what do we do?
it's like I think when people say like shut it down or make it be
Yeah,
quiet, it's not gonna do that. Like it's not like some other meditation teachers, they might tell you different. But I don't think like we were designed to come here and to not think. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or to not
yeah,
have anything on our mind. I think it's more so about directing it towards something positive or something healthy. Because we were put here to create, we were put here to manifest things, we were put here to leave the earth better than we found it. So we are supposed to use our minds. I think it's just about not allowing it to use us. So like,
mm,
and I use the example like of a baby. Like think of your mind like a baby. Like if a baby was crying and like screaming and just wilding out, like you would not go up to the baby and shake it and just tell it to like shut up. Like you know what I
yeah,
mean? Or
yeah,
we just
that's
call
true.
somebody like you or something, you know what I mean? Like, I think you would hold it. You would kind of see
Yeah,
what's going on. Like you would be gentle with it. You would be patient. And I think you have to take on the same relationship like
yeah,
with your mind. really treating it like your child. Like it doesn't run you, but you
Yeah.
do have to tend to it, and you never really want to shut it down. Like it's really about soothing it and affirming it to a place where it can feel comfortable, relaxing, and resting on its own.
Wow, that's power. That is so powerful. Especially, I wake up. I have a sleep pattern that I actually wake up at certain times of the night, and it's for sometimes it's like between 3 and 4 a.m. And I get the most incredible impulses and information and
Mhm.
download that happen, and I'm forced to write in the dark because there's a part of me that's like I'm not getting up. But I know this is like information that I need. And then, and I've allowed that to happen. I used to, but then going to sleep, like I try to visualize. I almost sometimes I try to visualize a dream state that I want to go into.
Mm.
What do I want to be? And again, because I'm spiritual, I always end up with like don't y'all don't judge me, okay? But
Mhm.
I have dreams where I go, I want to see the face of Jesus. Listen, okay, that's what I do, and it doesn't always happen, but it puts me in
It
a
calms you down
it
though.
puts me down, and all of a sudden now my mind is focused on that. I'm not thinking about work or illness or none of that. It's just I
Mhm.
have this very calm, peaceful sense of being, and then here comes the dreams that show up between 3 and 4, and these incredible downloads that I get. But I had to. You're right. I used to struggle with like, how do I make it stop? Like I want to have like 8, 9 hours straight. You know what I mean? Like how do I make it stop? And then I realized like, wait a minute, there's some information that I'm supposed to get,
Yeah.
and I need to get it. So I'm gonna shift so I can grab that information, and then I'm more rested and sometimes excited when I wake up because I've achieved that kind of that
Mhm.
connection that you were talking about.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned writing too, I allow
Yeah.
it to usually be the start of most of my classes as well because it gives you like space to just release everything that's there, like without shame.
Yeah.
Like I
Oh,
think it's especially like some things that we're afraid of or that we're fearful of.
wow.
I
Yeah.
think everybody should have a free writing practice because like it gives a place for like your negative thoughts or for like your fearful thoughts. It gives it a safe place to manifest. You know what I mean?
Wow.
A safe place
Yes.
to show up. It can go on the page. And sometimes we can be afraid to write certain things down, but it's
Yes.
better to get it out on the page than for it to come out, somewhere else. So
Yeah. So that's a great call out. And for those of y'all, who aren't quote unquote into journaling, be into journaling. Be into it, yeah, get it. You can get again, not trying to put costs on folks who've been impacted. You can, find a cheap journal, dollar journal, notebook, whatever it is. But the idea
even
of
your
just,
phone, if you could do
or
it,
your phone.
I have my number saved. That's
Yeah.
and like I text myself all the
Yeah,
time. Not
I
like
do too. I do too.
you know what I mean, but like I like if I need to journal or get something off
Yeah.
my head,
Yes.
I'll put it there. Like if I don't have a pen and paper, like okay, I can let this go right now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So even if you don't have pen and paper, it's always with technology today. It's always a way to release. I recommend the pen and paper, like if you have
Yeah.
it. But yeah,
Something else that we have in common is affirmations.
yeah.
I'm really big on what I say, and it wasn't always like this. I mean, for the longest time, I would say the craziest things about myself,
Mm,
and out loud. And I started pulling a lot of that back over the last year or so because I realized that I'm literally creating my reality through what I say about myself. And I'm,
yeah,
I'm watching it happen and
yeah.
going, wait, why is that happening? Because I said it, right? I've actually created it. So what are your thoughts about, and I also on your site, I believe you also have affirmations so people can go on there and please y'all go and see. They're amazing. I've already checked it out. But what are your thoughts around affirmations and why is that important to you?
I think it's so important because it shapes our mind. And our mind, I don't think a lot of people realize, I think a lot of people do though. Like a lot of people do realize, and even more people are realizing that our thoughts, like
Mhm.
they influence how we experience reality. Like it directly influences how you feel. So it's going to influence your life experience. So it's even a Bible verse. I don't know the exact scripture.
Yeah.
I grew up in the Baptist church, like
Yeah.
Southern Black Baptist church as a kid. And this verse always stuck with me is as a man thinketh, like so is
So
he.
is he.
Yeah. And when I was
Mhm.
younger, I was like, I don't really get like I was like, okay. Like it's just but like it's kind of come full circle in a way. Like since I
Yeah.
started my meditation practice and also being able to look back at the foundation of spirituality that I was introduced to at a really
Yeah.
young age, is all the same thing, you know?
Yes.
And it's just so beautiful to see that. But when the common thing across all faiths, across many traditions, a lot of philosophies, I think even quantum physicists are picking up on it too.
Yeah.
Even like traditional science, is that our thoughts directly create and shape how we feel. And how we feel directly shapes like the type of life that we live. So that's why affirmations are important because they can kind of mold the clay of your mind. Yeah.
That's powerful. That is so powerful. Yeah. And again, for y'all who are, for anyone who's looking for affirmations, some free stuff, it's on his site. The link is in our chat. Go out there. You can even write some for yourself. And there are affirmations that I say to myself. If I'm in my office by myself, I say a lot of it's on the top of my voice to myself. It's incredible how it shifts your mind. It changes your perspective. The way that people treat you, it's even different because now I don't accept just any behavior. I don't accept just
Yeah.
anything because of who I am. And so I have a lot of I am statements, but I do live that out. So you're right. It does manifest. You end up, creating your life just by what you say. So y'all be careful what you say. Be careful what you say, right?
I also
Oh
think
my,
doing it in the mirror is also really
yeah,
helpful. So
yeah.
mirror is really a part of my practice as well.
Uh,
Yeah, I think saying something directly in your eyes, being able
yes.
to see yourself, is is really powerful. Really, really powerful.
Something I do. I have a lot of mentees, in internal, corporate wise, and external, just folks I
Mhm.
meet. And that's just part of my. That's what's up. But one of the things that I do when I meet someone who is not confident, I have. Yeah, thank you, Tina. I'm sorry about that. She said, yeah. Also, be careful what you take in.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Don't let just anybody speak into you. I'm like, you can keep it to yourself.
Or what you watch, what you
Or
read.
what you watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
what you watch, what you read. All of those things. They create a mapping in your mind, and you do actually end up living some of that out. So mentees, I usually, if you have um, some issues with lower self esteem, the first exercise I give them is go in the mirror and say to yourself, I deserve the best. I
Mhm.
love myself. And if you can do that, you're gonna be crying for 30 minutes. But if you can't do that, then we can't talk.
Mhm.
you
Exactly.
have to get you have to get connected to yourself, right?
Mhm.
You have to accept that you actually deserve to be here. So for those of y'all who are watching us on this
Mhm.
wonderful Valentine's, and you might be feeling like you're alone, and we're on this trio date with you, sharing Valentine's with you. We definitely want to make sure that you feel and know that you are absolutely worth it. You're amazing. You're incredible. You're smart. You're beautiful. You're handsome. You deserve to be here. For a lot of folks, again, that are having those types of thoughts. You absolutely deserve to be here. We need you. There's a song, Jordan. This is a gospel song. I think it's "I Need You to Survive." If I have it right, I
I know
can't
that.
remember.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'm like, yeah, I don't.
Mhm.
Okay, that's the song. So we need you to survive because we do, right? So I want to get your final thoughts, just to close this out, give people back their evening again, especially for folks who are catching the replay, catching it tomorrow, sharing, loving, liking this. What are your final thoughts?
Um, my final thoughts are you really should, honor your thoughts. I think
Mm.
I think our thoughts are more important than we think. So I think it's a perfect question. Yeah, I think your thoughts are the most important thing. Like what you think about you is more important than your circumstances. It's more important than what anybody else thinks about you. It's more important than how much money is in your bank account,
Yes.
like who's in your house. It's more important
Yes.
than everything, like your relationship with your mind and what your mind tells you, you know? So,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you for that. So the you have an event that's coming up. Is
Oh,
it
yeah.
this week? Yeah, can you tell
It's,
us about
it's
that?
this week. It's on Thursday, that's February 16th.
Okay.
If you're in the Bay Area, I would love to see you there. It's at Kim Folks, Oakland, on Telegraph, and it's called "To Me for You." So it's being thrown by an organization called Create the Space, and it's essentially Black men telling their story. So it's really vulnerable storytelling. I don't know the topic of the story I'll be telling it. They tell me the topic the day of, and then it's really an opportunity for us to practice vulnerability and for the crowd to hopefully receive us
Wow.
really, really well. I've been to one of the events before, and it's really, really beautiful. Some of the stories that everybody shares, and the environment is just dope.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for that. And again, for those of y'all who are going to be in the area, can they find this information on your website or
Yeah.
where should they go?
They should go to me for you.
Okay. Is it
Dot.
like two, like the number two?
Yeah, I believe this is the link. I think it's to me for you. Eventbrite.com.
Okay.
I think that should be it. I'm not hosting it. I'll
Okay.
be speaking at it.
All right.
Otherwise, I would know the name.
I love how you just don't be throwing shade on here.
No, I'm saying
Get us
I
kicked
don't know
off.
the link.
I have it, y'all. I have the
Okay,
link.
you
I'm
got it
gonna
up.
try to yeah, I'm gonna try to it's coming up slowly on my side here. So I'm just gonna drop this in the chat so that everybody can again you can register on it right and you can see the link in the chat here in a few seconds. There it goes. It's in the chat. So y'all please sign up, go to the event. It's on February 16th. I am so grateful. Again, thank you so much for giving us your Valentine's evening and sharing love basically for all of us, giving us all these amazing tips. I'm so excited to have you come back February 23rd because I think teens need this. Kids need this. I know I needed it. So we'll tell these. I'll let you say the last few words, and then hang out in the back room, and then we'll tell these people.
But thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed being here. And you said
Aw,
last few words. I'm sorry. You said
yeah.
last few words. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, again, like I think, like your mind is priceless. Like I want to say your mind's worth like more than $1 million, but like you really can't even put a price on it. Like it's really priceless. Um, yeah, and we have so much power to directly influence how we feel. We have a lot of agency over that. So I just really encourage people to feel into that, to be still with that, and really kind of explore how that can show up for them in their own life.
Wow, I love that. Y'all, please make sure you check out his site. If you're a company, if you're a school, make sure you hire Jordan and get some help. Y'all need to get some help, okay? Get some help. So we'll tell everybody deuces and then we'll hang out in the back room.
Okay, awesome, awesome.
Thanks for watching.